sir.
Here we are, the Byronic and the Butcher. This was supposed to be one of the first episodes ever, but
Yes, sir.
kind of got mixed up in the mess. So we're gonna have a good show tonight. What we're gonna talk about is Machiavellian principle, the Byronic, Lord Byron, myself, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Sun Tzu. Now, if you know anything about these three characters in history, Machiavelli, Lord Byron, and Sun Tzu, you don't find many more that three people that you can put together in a group that's going to match up to the historical, renownedness that they had, the impact that they had, and how they're all still known today. So, but each one they kind of view themselves a little bit different when they look at things. You know, you got Sun Tzu, who was the tactician. You know, always thinking and strategizing, calculating. How am I gonna, what do I got to do to be the victor, and not even be the victor, to be on top. Okay, be on top. If you don't have to fight, don't fight. Yeah. Because that was one of his things. Don't fight a battle you can't win.
Exactly.
So, but to stay on top, there's certain things you have to do. Machiavelli, the Machiavellian principle, same thing, but way on the other side of the scope. Yeah. He's like, perception is reality. Make yourself look like a badass, and that's going to keep you out of 90% of the problems. Because most people are just coward, and once you got a reputation, they ain't gonna fuck with you anyway.
Persona and ego.
Yeah, ego. That's the shadow. And then, of course, Lord Byron. Lord Byron was the YouTube star back in before there was even electricity. Yeah. So, he ran around and partied, and he was a lord, but he gave the big old screw you to the monarchy, and
he was looked up to by all that he knew.
Yep.
On a soapbox.
Yep.
Start to finish.
And he even went to war. He'd go fight Greece independence and all that just because he wanted to fight. So
after my own heart.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about is I want to talk about how these three kind of fit together. I think if you take a piece of each one of these three and put them together, you'd have the greatest leader ever.
Yeah.
And so who is Machiavelli though, and who is Lord Byron, and who is Sun Tzu? Who knew them? All we have are history books, But so I printed out some notes here. If we talk about Lord Byron and some of his traits, charisma, conscience, the myth engine, building that persona, like the Butcher just said, building yourself up. His core vibes, he was a romantic rebel. He rebelled against everything. Theatrical sincerity.
Real man's man.
Yeah, he made sure that he would, be sincere to you, but he made sure everybody's seen it and it was done in a good way. Allergic to moral smugness. He didn't like follow the Joneses, or he didn't care if the people down the street said, "Oh, look at them assholes over there in that trailer home," or whatever. He said, "Fuck you."
He made his own way.
Yeah. And people were jealous. Obsessed with freedom and intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's us, man. Yeah. We're fucking definitely intense, and you got to have our freedom. Which people like us, we lose our freedom now and then, but
it does. We live in a
lock us up
world.
But so one of his things, I want to say, he was authentic, passion, and power. Through a kind of truth. It wasn't power where he went out there and slapped people around, but he believed in morality.
He knew how to move a room.
Yeah. Now Machiavelli, he would be skeptical to this because he said it was useful when it mobilizes others, dangerous when it blinds you. He'd treat passion as a resource to manage, not worship. Machiavelli believed that morality was a weakness. He believed that, if you're gonna be on top and rule the world, you had to be a mean son of a bitch. So back to Byron, he believed he was the Byronic hero, proud, wounded, defiant, magnetic contradictions. I call myself the psychotic Byronic because I'm crazy, and I believe in a lot of what Lord Byron did. Now let's talk about Machiavelli. He sees a political tool, a liability, great for personal brand, rebellion, and coup, but bad for stable governance because ego creates unforced errors.
Yes.
Sun Tzu calls it predictable. A Byronic hero is emotionally illegible. Enemies can bait them. He'd advise building inner stiffness to prevent manipulation. So you see here, I believe in all three of these because only certain people can do certain things.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the Byronic hero, there was only one person in that era who could be that guy.
Yeah.
Who could be Lord Byron.
Top dog.
So these guys, even though they talk against it, they're that guy in their era. Sun Tzu was a cult of personality, just like Donald Trump. Everybody loved him. Yeah. And same thing with Machiavelli. Machiavelli people, they out in public, they say they hated that son of a bitch. But just like in boardrooms and everything else, what people display up front to the public, that's not how they are behind closed doors. Trust me, I was an international executive for over 20 years. Okay, and what you see is not what you're getting.
Just like an iceberg, man. You might see the tip of it sticking out of the water, but you don't see the base of it.
Machiavelli, put it best when he said, it's like, if you ever worked in a big corporation and you're up there in the executive room and you make employee of the month and all that shit, and you go down there and you elect the person that's going to be the flag waving, do the processes right, do everything this way, and this is how we're winning. They're the employee of the month. Mm-hmm. They give that. They want to give that because they want them to be out there rabble, right? Getting the people fired up. But what in reality, they're paying a consultant like me to make sure everything looks good, whether it really does or not. Yeah. And doing dirty shit.
Putting lipstick on a pig.
Yep. Freedom over comfort, contempt for hypocrisy and tyranny. Lord Byron did not like hypocrisy. He did not like a tyrant. Machiavelli,
either.
Complicated. He'd support freedom. It creates a strong, durable state, but he'd warn that righteous purity can lose wars. So I think we all understood that. Even in United States history, every time we went to war, no matter what side our president, whatever party he was from, we went over there and kicked ass. There's a time and place for everything.
There is.
Life is short, meaning is forged, not inherited. Machiavelli would approve of this, but it's dried out, meaning legacy, security, reputation, continuity. He'd call this vibe force of will and without poetry. Sun Tzu would agree if it meant it produces discipline. Everything's discipline with Sun Tzu,
Very disciplined.
Purpose is a force multiplier, but he prefer meaning that makes you calm, not combustive. And Sun Tzu, that's why I love Sun Tzu. When he made the statement,
yes,
keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's one of the most brilliant things ever.
Yeah.
If you fucking hate somebody's guts and you don't trust them one bit, before you go off the deep end, slap the shit out of them, you can probably get some information out of them. Keep them close because if there's a war going on, you want to know where they're at.
Yeah.
And if they're right in front of you, it's like Chesty Puller, the Marine Corps general in Korea. He was a colonel back then, I think, but he ended up becoming a general.
Damn.
But he they were surrounded by the damn communists, the Chinese and the North Koreans, and in the Korean War, and it's cold as hell out there. And Jesse Pooler got his men together, and he said, "Man, got great news." They said, "Sir, what was that?" He said, "They've got us completely surrounded."
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, is that good news?" He goes, "We know right where they're at."
Exactly. It's all about perspective.
Yeah. So
either end.
And that's how Sun Tzu was. And when he said, Sun Tzu was a warrior, but he said in his teachings, you don't go into a battle you can't win.
Yeah.
Why? He's so right. But you don't think of that when you think of these guys, Sun Tzu or Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun. These are great tacticians, strategists, military leaders,
wild, mad,
loved by their people.
Calculated.
I mean, 23% of DNA in the world today has Genghis Khan in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was
he was a lover.
He was. He really was, man. And he ruled with an iron fist.
Yeah, he was a lover and a fighter. So Sun Tzu, yeah, he was cool. Machiavelli, we'll talk a little bit about him. You know, it's like power as a craft. Unsentimental realist, allergic to wishful thinking, politics as engineering. Use them to build whatever you want to build. Sun Tzu's take on that would be he preferred neither. He says fear creates resistance. Best victory is achieved without inflaming hatred. And that's another thing. Man, if you don't like somebody, don't be calling them fucking names and shit and just pissing them off. If you're going to knock the shit out of them, go knock the shit out of them.
Yeah. But
just pissing them off is going to make it harder on you. Okay?
And it gives away your moment of surprise. Yeah. You know, you got to always think 3 moves ahead before you make a move.
Yeah. And, I mean, it gets me when, I mean, unless it's just gotten to a point where this guy right now, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. You know who you are if you're watching. You know, when it gets to that point, yeah, I'm gonna fucking
gloves are off.
Yeah,
it's time for business.
But you know, out of the other fucking 34 people I'd like to kill right now, I'm not talking about them.
List is long.
And it's getting longer.
Yeah, shit.
Appear virtuous, but never be virtuous. Sun Tzu, yep. Deception is a tool.
It is. And
Byron would half sneer, half smile, and he'd call it hypocrisy, then admit, you know, it's the way to go. He pushed for authenticity as a weapon, but in reality, no. A ruler must understand force in the law of the lion and the fox. You know, and we all know about the lion and the fox, right? So, the fox out in the wilderness, he can't go kick the shit out of people for his food or kill something. He's got to be cunning and sly, you know, and get in there and steal the eggs or whatever. That's the only way he's going to get by. He's a wimp.
Planned and calculated.
Yeah. Now the lion, he can just bust through the door, take the chickens, bite their heads off, do whatever he wants. He has his way. He's the king of the jungle, man. Yeah. So, but don't get him in a scenario where he has to be tiptoeing around and cunning and stuff. It ain't going to happen.
No, it's like a bull in the china shop. He can't sneak.
Yep. So what he's saying is you got to have a little bit of both.
Yeah, ends of both spectrum, kind of like contrast.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's some of the things. We don't got time to go through them all, but man, Machiavelli, Lord Byron, and Sun Tzu, you take a little bit of each of them, and you know where I see it. Machiavelli, I love his shit. You know, I used to live by it a lot, and I got away from it. Now I'm gonna get back to it since you know, I tried to be Mr. Nice Guy and I finished last because you want to fuck me over. But
it's the world.
Fuck that. I'm gonna start kicking people right in the balls.
Yeah.
So
facts.